Hi, this is Kathy Goodwin, and we're going to do something interesting today. I'm going to take a look at an email that I received from Nina Cook. Nina is based in the UK. She is a consultant who works with clients on getting past their limiting beliefs and growing, developing mindsets that will help them succeed in their business and in their lives where they could not have done so before. She is very down to earth. She is very smart. I have had one session with her and I was very impressed with the way she works. So I looked at this email that she sent and I said, this is a great basic story. But if you were a client, how would I change it? Could it be even more effective? And she gave me permission to do this. So I want to say the main purpose for doing this is to create a story that really demonstrates what Nina can do and how she might be able to help her clients, because that's really the point of telling these stories, reaching some marketing objective. Otherwise, we would just be sitting around a campfire, sharing stories, and that's a nice thing to do, but not in our email boxes. So let's start with the title, What I Did with My Unwanted Christmas Gift. And I want to say the first thing you want to look at with anyone when you're writing your email is what is your archetype. And we won't go into that here because I've written about it in many places, but Nina appears to be a role model archetype, which means a lot of her core message is, if I can do this, you can do this. So this is something she might want to write before she communicates, before she sends an email, is to say, am I reinforcing that element, or at least am I not contradicting that part of who I am? And the first clue is that she writes about herself, and the second is that she says, to your magnificent success. And most people who say to your success, I don't know why, they're almost all role models. I did a quick calculation one time, and that's what seems to turn up. So let's say she is a role model archetype, which means that's her message. And here's her story. Very briefly, somebody gave her and her husband some pasta bowls. They were nice crockery, or we might say pottery here in the US. And she liked them. She appreciated the thoughtfulness of the gift, but she really wasn't crazy about the color or the design. So she said, I'll go back and exchange it. Now, if we were working for 90 minutes, we would go through this and wordsmith it, but we're just going to look at 3 or 4 main points. So the story is that she went to one shop assistant who said, nope, can't do it, no receipt. Second one said, okay, when she explained, I can't get a receipt, it was a gift. The shop assistant said, oh, let me see what I can do. And then her husband was astounded. He was like, oh, come on, I can't believe you did that. And then she says, why am I sharing this? So the first thing I want to go into is, just briefly, I would shorten the introduction. Who gave the gift? The fact that it was a gift to the two of them, that's helpful, but not really essential, unless she has some special reason for bringing in her husband and telling a little about their family. Keep the introduction, set the scene very, very quickly. You want to get them in, and it's really not that long. It could be even shorter. You want to get this as quickly as possible into the action. Just say, we got a gift. We appreciate the thoughtfulness of the gift. Color and design just won't work for us, so back to the store we went. And then the second thing I would do is say, what is the point that Nina wants to make with the story? Because she kind of knows what it is. There are all kinds of ways you can tell the story, but the point is really the key. So what she's saying here is, why am I sharing this? And generally I prefer not to ask that question, but you because that really meant, well, why are you sharing this? It may never we entered our heads. So I would not ask that, but that's a minor point. We would go into more depth if we were doing this in a longer session. She says, because the strategy has worked, if you don't ask, you don't get. So is that the message she wants to communicate? If you don't ask for something, ask and you shall receive. Is that the message? Or is the message related to communication? This is how I do it. Ask nicely. We would wordsmith this word nicely. If you don't get the answer you want, it's okay, and then be okay with a no. This is a different message. These are slightly different messages. Message one is, if you don't ask, you don't get, which is very true. I'm a big believer in asking for help. I just recently injured my kneecap, and I've been asking everybody I know for all kinds of help, and I've been amazed. Some people said no, but most people were really, really helpful. And if I hadn't asked, I would never have gotten the quality of care I got. So I totally relate to this message. The question is this the message that Nina wants to send? Is this a big part of what she teaches in her practice? And then what about communication style? Is that a part of her practice? I think she's got a much bigger message here. I think what Nina could do is say, I maybe let's rephrase the story a little bit. Let's kind of push Rick to one side, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's say I got to the store. She said, do you have a receipt? Nope, they were a gift. You can't exchange them. So my first thought was to agree with Rick, or maybe leave Rick out of it and say, no, I can't do it. But then I remembered, what do I tell my clients? I tell them, stop. What are your beliefs? So maybe I walked into the store with the belief that the store has procedures and rules, and they're not going to break them no matter what. And they're going to be antagonistic, and there's no point in fighting. That's one belief. Or I could shift that belief to, this is an upscale store. People spend significant money here. The fact that I'm even here means I could be a customer. They want me. They really want to please me. My goal is not to fight with them and to argue about the rules. My goal is to find that person who understands the store's philosophy and will work with me to help. So with that mindset shift, I then found another shop assistant, and I said, I want to return this. And the shop assistant again said, have you got a receipt? But this time, because I had this belief, even without saying anything, I gave off this energy, and Nita says this much better than I do, but I gave off this energy that the sales clerk, as we would say in the US, sales clerk, UK shop assistant, picked up on, that, hey, I'm working with you. This is a win-win for both of us if we exchange this. And that's what happened. That would be a really, really strong message that fits in with Nina's best skills. So then it's exactly the same with her business. And again, I wouldn't, if you don't ask for a referral, this is true, but we've heard that before. What you've got is a much stronger message that will really leave people thinking. A lot of times when you approach a prospect and you ask, or when you approach a client and say, can I get a referral, or can I get a testimonial? First they just say no. But maybe if you shifted your belief to, that client wants to help me and I want to help them help me, maybe that will change the way they say yes to my request. So really, maybe if that would be the focus, that will make it a much stronger message. And then let's look at the role of Rick. Why is Rick in the story? I know it's nice for people when you have a personal life and you're especially if you're a role model archetype and you want to talk about your family, bring them in. But in this case, what you're essentially saying is, Rick tried to tell me not to, but I didn't. I went past him. Is there a role for Rick that makes him look really, really good, as a good support to you? What you could say is maybe something about how Rick reminded me that when I work with clients, I encourage them to look at a problem and shift their mindset. You might put him in a more of a supporting role, even if he wasn't. Remember, no one's looking for true confessions in your messages. They're looking for lessons. They're looking for a way to get to know you. So those are my top suggestions. As I said, if we were working together, either through my video coaching program or my 90-minute consultation where we go through this in detail, we go into much more depth and we wordsmith a little bit. But for now, this is my commentary and just a few suggestions on Nina's email. And I suggest you go to her website, check her out. She really does a lot to help her clients. So I'll see you on a future video, and maybe we'll get together sometime for a consultation. Just go to Kathy Goodwin, Kathy with a C, kathygoodwin.com, and we can take it from there.